You are walking. A wooden table. You trip. You stumble hard. Pain shoots up. You blurt out a word. Sorry. You just apologized to an inanimate piece of wood. You look around quickly. Complete silence. Nobody saw it. Your face burns hot. Capillaries expand wildly. Blood rushes to your cheeks. Your stomach ties into tight knots. You feel incredibly stupid. You question your own sanity. You ask yourself why you constantly submit to furniture. You think you are weak. You believe you completely lack a spine. You label yourself a chronic people pleaser. But you are wrong. Your brain is not broken. Your mind is not malfunctioning. By the end of this video, you will understand why this humiliating reflex is actually keeping you alive. You will realize that apologizing to a table is a highly advanced survival algorithm. It is not cowardice. It is pure biology. You think you control your own words. You assume your conscious mind is always driving the vehicle, but it is not. Your autonomic nervous system just hijacked your vocal cords. It bypassed your logical brain entirely. Why does this happen? Why do you act like helpless prey in your own living room? Society tells you it is simply low self-esteem. Self-help gurus claim you desperately need to assert dominance. They want you to stop acting so incredibly small. Stop. Those books are completely lying to you. They do not understand deep evolutionary neurology. They do not know about the primal trauma responses. You know fight, you know flight, you know freeze. But you probably do not know the fourth pillar of survival. You do not know fawning. When your toe hit that wooden leg, a microscopic threat signal fired deep inside your head. In less than 0.2 of a second, your amygdala panicked intensely. It did not see a modern coffee table. It registered a massive physical collision. It saw an alpha predator. In the brutal wild, a sudden physical collision means imminent death. If you bump into a larger animal, you get eaten. If you violently bump into the hostile tribal leader, you get instantly exiled. Exile means freezing in the dark completely alone, so your brain aggressively pulls the emergency brake. It instantly deploys the ultimate de-escalation tactic. It forces your mouth to transmit a rapid signal of total and absolute submission. It makes you say sorry to instantly diffuse the perceived aggression. You are preemptively neutralizing the threat before it escalates. You are offering your vulnerable throat to save your own life. You are not a spineless coward. You are a biological masterpiece executing a flawless defensive maneuver. Your physical body is running a 3 million-year-old software program inside a safe modern apartment. The surrounding environment changed completely. The neurological hardware did not. You still feel the heavy shame lingering in your chest. You want to hide from yourself. You analyze the awkward moment repeatedly. You wonder if you will always be this pathetically submissive. The invisible panic attacks continue to haunt your daily life. The silent shame eats away at your core confidence. You desperately try to fix your personality. You try to stand taller and look significantly tougher. You try to speak louder to mask the internal fear. But you cannot ever overwrite an ancient survival code with mere logical willpower. Every time you apologize for simply taking up space, your nervous system is just trying to keep you safe from the cold tribal night. It is a powerful ghost of your evolutionary past. It turns a simple, clumsy moment into a visceral crisis of modern existence. You are a hostage in your own skull, and the kidnapper is your own desperate desire to survive. Do you still think you are broken? You believe your relentless habit of over-apologizing is a deeply ingrained character flaw. You label yourself a toxic people-pleaser who desperately lacks personal boundaries. You assume your self-esteem is completely broken. This is exactly what every single modern self-help communication book has blatantly lied to you about. They tell you to just be confident and stop shrinking yourself. But confidence has absolutely no voice in this specific fraction of a second. From the outside, your clumsy apology to a piece of furniture looks remarkably pathetic. But from the inside, a magnificent biological override is happening with absolute precision. In 2011, neuroscientists at the University of California mapped out the exact chemical trajectory of social rejection and physical threat. They discovered that your brain processes the potential judgment of a crowded room using the exact same pain matrix as an actual physical attack. Therefore, your rapid apology is not a display of social politeness. It is a highly calculated neurochemical defense mechanism. Let us peel back the complex layers of your silent daily shame. Why do you automatically submit to inanimate objects? You think it is because you are an inherently weak person? No. You think it is because you are irrationally afraid of confrontation? Still completely wrong. Your autonomic nervous system is executing a preemptive threat. Neutralization protocol, the Fawning response. It is the fourth tier of your primal defense architecture. When your toe violently strikes the wood, your sensory cortex sends a massive shockwave directly to your amygdala. Within milliseconds, your amygdala assesses the sudden sensory spike not as a simple, clumsy accident, but as a severe rupture in your environmental safety. To prevent a catastrophic flood of cortisol, your brain instantly activates the ventral vagal complex. This specific neural pathway forces your vocal cords to emit a pacifying sound. It is a biological white flag. If we isolate the psychological variables, the sheer genius of this mechanism becomes completely undeniable. When you stub your toe alone in your dark bedroom, you curse loudly and angrily. But when you trip over a chair in a crowded cafe, you immediately whisper a desperate apology. The physical pain you experience is exactly the same. The only changing variable is the presence of the observing tribe. Your brain instantly recognizes that showing sudden aggression in a public territory could trigger a defensive counterattack from the surrounding herd. So it forcibly shuts down your aggressive impulse. It rapidly overrides your logical prefrontal cortex. It literally hijacks your mouth. Forced social smoothness is a highly dangerous neurotoxin. Society demands that you navigate every obstacle with flawless grace. But attempting to suppress this primal submissive reflex actually burns an immense amount of cognitive glucose. It destroys your neural ecology. You are trying to manually override a 3 million-year-old survival algorithm with mere positive affirmations. It is absolutely inevitable that biology will win this war. Not a single healthy brain can suppress the fawning reflex when the amygdala perceives a sudden spatial violation. You are not experiencing a psychological glitch. You are experiencing a flawless execution of evolutionary programming. But the awkwardness of apologizing to a wooden table is just the surface layer. What your brain is secretly calculating behind the curtain is infinitely more spectacular. We need to drag this microscopic social glitch back into the brutal environment where it was originally forged. Close your eyes and rewind the clock 300,000 years. You are not standing in a modern office or a quiet apartment. You are navigating the unforgiving terrain of the Pleistocene epoch. In that ancient ecosystem, your survival did not depend on your individual physical strength. It depended entirely on your strict adherence to the social hierarchy of the tribe. The invisible antagonist here is not your lack of confidence. The true enemy is the modern expectation that you should always stand tall and fearless. Your primitive hardware fundamentally disagrees with this toxic modern standard. Imagine an alpha predator or a highly aggressive tribal leader suddenly crossing your path. If you bump into them, if you accidentally violate their physical space, you do not try to explain yourself. You do not maintain confident eye contact. If you show even a fraction of a second of hesitation or pride, you are perceived as a direct threat. You will be violently cast out of the group. You will freeze to death alone in the dark. Your ancestors understood this brutal mathematical equation perfectly. To survive a sudden physical collision, the weaker mammal must immediately expose its belly. It must physically demonstrate absolute harmlessness. This is the exact algorithm your nervous system is running right now. When your toe hits the table, your traumatized amygdala does not check if the object is alive. It only registers a sudden, violent spatial violation. It short-circuits your rational mind completely. It wipes your working memory clean of whatever you were thinking about. It floods your bloodstream with a precise microdose of cortisol. It forces your vocal cords to emit a high-pitched, submissive sound of apology. You are essentially begging a piece of furniture not to banish you from the tribal fire. Do you think this is a pathetic display of weakness? This is the exact moment where every single communication guru is completely wrong. They tell you to stop apologizing. They tell you to hold your ground. But they are asking you to manually rewrite a 3 million-year-old survival code. Your brain is functioning like a highly sophisticated radar system that has been dropped into the wrong century. It is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering that is currently trapped in a world of fluorescent lights and cheap wooden furniture. Let us look at the actual metabolic cost of this reflex. When the collision occurs, your anterior cingulate cortex lights up like a massive warning beacon. This is the exact same brain region that processes agonizing physical pain. Your brain cannot distinguish between the pain of a stubbed toe and the devastating social pain of being ostracized by your peers. They are neurologically identical. So, your body forcefully takes the wheel to save your life. It executes the fawning response before your conscious mind even realizes what has happened. You feel your heart pounding against your ribs. You feel the cold sweat forming on your palms. You feel the intense, suffocating urge to shrink your physical body down to the smallest possible size. This is not anxiety. This is your nervous system wrapping you in a bulletproof vest. The modern world demands that you act like a flawless corporate machine. It expects you to navigate crowded spaces, endless meetings, and sharp furniture without ever showing a single crack in your emotional armor. This toxic societal standard is the real monster. It forces your primitive brain to constantly scan for threats in a fundamentally safe environment. You are a gazelle, drinking at a watering hole, constantly expecting a lion to jump out from behind the coffee maker. Every time you apologize to an inanimate object, you are witnessing a spectacular echo of human history. Your vocal cords are vibrating with the exact same frequency of submission that kept your great ancestors alive during the Ice Age. The modern office is nothing more than a decorated cave. The aggressive emails are the modern rustling leaves in the dark forest. Your brain is desperately trying to apply a flawless jungle survival guide to a mundane domestic accident. It is overprotective. It is hypervigilant. It is deeply traumatized by millions of years of natural selection. And it loves you so much that it would rather make you look completely ridiculous in front of nobody than risk you being eaten alive. In 2018, a comprehensive study on mammalian defensive behaviors revealed that rapid appeasement vocalizations are universal across highly social species. When you blurt out that apology, you are participating in a sacred ancient ritual of biological preservation. The table is just a proxy for the alpha predator. Your quick apology is a sophisticated sequence of neural firing, muscle contraction, and vocal modulation, all synchronized within a fraction of a second. This is not a glitch. This is a feature of the highest order. Your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, is temporarily locked out of the control room. The traumatized amygdala, your hyperactive security guard, has completely taken over the system. It slams the heavy blast doors shut on your logic and forces your body into submission. It is an act of extreme, desperate care. You must stop viewing this as a failure of your character. It is a triumph of your anatomy. You believe you are a terrible friend. You think you are completely unreliable. You assume you are slowly destroying your own social life because you are deeply selfish. You meticulously construct moral justifications to severely punish yourself. You stare at your phone screen, overwhelmed with paralyzing guilt. You know you should attend that party. You promised you would be there. But 15 minutes before you have to leave your safe house, you abruptly send a cancellation text. You manufacture a sudden illness. You fake a family emergency. You pull the plug entirely. You think you just committed an unforgivable social betrayal. But you did not. Your nervous system just initiated a critical shutdown protocol. The societal concept of flaking is a brutal misunderstanding of mammalian neurology. We are told that strong individuals push through their exhaustion. We are conditioned to believe that maintaining constant social availability is the ultimate marker of a healthy personality. This relentless expectation is a complete neurobiological fallacy. It forces you to ignore the violent screaming of your own biology. Your body is not a machine designed for perpetual motion. It is a fragile ecosystem. And your ecosystem is currently burning to the ground. When you cancel those plans at the last possible minute, your conscious logic is completely bypassed. Your ventral vagal nerve complex calculates that the incoming social friction will completely drain your remaining cognitive reserves. The party is no longer an opportunity for connection. It is classified as an existential threat to your systemic integrity. So, your biology forcefully overrides your polite intentions. It aggressively severs the social connection to force your body into a mandatory emergency energy conservation mode. You missed a conversation. You disappointed an acquaintance. But your brain successfully prevented a total psychological collapse. You are agonizing over a social failure, while your body is quietly celebrating a biological victory. We force ourselves to smile, to maintain steady eye contact, to nod enthusiastically when our internal circuits are quite literally melting down. We wear heavy, suffocating spacesuits to navigate the toxic vacuum of modern social obligations. When you finally retreat to your room and lock the door, you are not abandoning society. You are taking the spacesuit off before you suffocate. You are desperately gasping for clean oxygen. The abrupt silence is not isolation. It is a sacred, vital pressure release valve. Without these sudden disconnections, your neural ecology would suffer catastrophic damage. The awkwardness of canceling, the guilt of the unread message, the shame of sudden silence. These are simply the necessary friction costs of keeping yourself alive. You are punishing yourself for possessing a highly intelligent, self-regulating machine. You carry a deep exhaustion in your bones. You spend your days fighting invisible psychological wars. You apologize to wooden tables to avoid imaginary conflicts. You cancel weekend plans to prevent absolute system failure. You sit in quiet rooms feeling incredibly defective. You believe you are fundamentally broken. You constantly compare yourself to perfectly smooth social machines. You watch others navigate the world without any visible hesitation. You assume their brains are superior. You think your primitive reflexes are a tragic mistake. Science proves this judgment is completely backwards. Your nervous system is actually a hyper-vigilant guardian. It is working overtime to secure your physical safety. It constantly absorbs the massive friction of the modern world. It takes the heavy blows so your conscious mind survives. It intentionally disconnects your social battery when the pressure peaks. It forces you to say sorry to de-escalate sudden threats. It builds a fortress of silence around your exhausted mind. You are judging a masterpiece of evolution using corporate metrics. You evaluate your primal biology with toxic productivity standards. This internal self-abuse must end right now. You cannot reprogram a 3 million-year-old defense mechanism. You will probably apologize to another inanimate object tomorrow. You will likely retreat from another crowded room next week. The sudden silence will drop. The awkwardness will happen. Your heart rate will still spike unexpectedly. The cortisol will still flood your veins. But you possess the ultimate power to change the aftermath. You have the absolute right to set biological boundaries. You have the right to disappear when the noise overwhelms. You have the right to drop the heavy social spacesuit. You have the right to forgive your own biology. Your awkwardness is the necessary cost of staying alive. It is the friction that proves you are a real human. It is the raw evidence of your intense vulnerability. True connection requires these tiny cracks in the marble statue. A flawless personality is a terrifying illusion. People trust the genuine clumsiness of a nervous human being. People connect with the red cheeks and the stuttered words. The next time you cancel a plan to save yourself, the next time you apologize to a piece of furniture, do not attack the loyal guard inside your skull. Do not punish the machinery that keeps you breathing. Breathe deeply into the quiet space it created for you. Acknowledge the incredible labor of your own nervous system. It sacrificed your social image to preserve your mental integrity. It chose your survival over your temporary reputation. It did exactly what it was designed to do. Thank your biology for the sudden silence. Rest inside the quiet fortress of your own mind. You are entirely safe. Forgive your protective shell.